Okay, let's dive into, well, a really tense situation unfolding over in West Asia. We're talking about the escalating military conflict between Israel and Iran. The risk of it blowing up into a full-scale war feels quite real.
It does, and it puts a lot of countries in a difficult position.
Exactly. And what's really interesting and what the material we're looking at today highlights is India's position in all this.
Right.
The core puzzle here is, where does India actually stand when two countries, it has pretty significant ties with Israel and Iran, are, locked in this kind of conflict?
Yeah, that's the central question. So our mission in this deep dive is basically to unpack India's unique balancing act here. We need to understand the drivers: military, economic, strategic, and this information we have gives us a good basis for that.
Okay, so digging into the material then, the conflict itself.
Mm-hmm.
It involves serious military actions, direct hits.
Mm-hmm. It's gone beyond just proxy fighting, although that's still happening, via groups Iran backs, like Hezbollah. But we are seeing direct strikes now. The sources mentioned targeting infrastructure, even sites potentially linked to nuclear activities. It's volatile.
Very. And India, as you mentioned, has these significant ties on both sides. With Israel, the relationship is described as, well, a close defense partnership.
Deep cooperation. Yeah. Counterterrorism, drones at cutting-edge tech cyber capabilities to areas where their interests really align.
But then on the flip side, you have Iran, a historic partner for India.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Crucially, an energy supplier, historically at least, and maybe more importantly now, the gateway to Central Asia.
Chabahar Port.
Exactly, Chabahar. It's vital for India's whole vision of the International North-South Transport Corridor, the INSTC. It's that trade route that gets around Pakistan.
So you can see the dilemma immediately. India just cannot afford to sort of burn bridges completely with either Israel or Iran.
No, the interests are too deep, too intertwined across really vital sectors.
Which brings us to India's response right now. According to the information we have, it's what's often called strategic ambiguity.
Condemning the violence, yes. Calling for restraint from everyone involved.
But stopping short, quite deliberately it seems, of actually taking a side in the direct Israel-Iran fight.
It's sometimes framed as vintage Indian foreign policy, maybe non-alignment 2.0, or even multi-alignment.
Right. And the rationale, as the sources explain it, is that this approach, well, it gives India diplomatic bandwidth. Flexibility.
Exactly. Room to maneuver. It lets India navigate complex situations not just in West Asia, but think about Russia-Ukraine or the tensions around China-Taiwan. It keeps channels open.
And this whole balancing act isn't happening in a vacuum, is it? The information points to this wider context.
Definitely. You've got the Saudi-Iran rapprochement, those rivals getting closer. You've got the Abraham Accords changing dynamics with Israel and some Arab states.
Plus, there's that growing Iran-Russia-China alignment.
And of course, the U.S. factor, backing Israel, sure, but also really wanting to avoid a wider war that could, send oil prices through the roof and mess up global trade.
Which is a huge concern for India, right? As the world's third largest oil importer.
Hugely. The stakes are incredibly high for India. Energy security is paramount. But also, think about the safety of the huge Indian diaspora in the region, potential trade disruptions, the security of those sea lanes in the Arabian Sea. It's a long list.
And all of this ties directly into India's own ambitions on the world stage.
It does. The material suggests that handling situations like this effectively is, crucial for India's credibility. For its push for a bigger role at global tables, the UN Security Council, G20, the expanded BRICS Plus group. How it navigates this matters.
Yeah. It's an incredibly complex tightrope India is walking, protecting diverse, really vital interests, defense, trade, energy in a super volatile region with key partners clashing, which leads us, I think, to the big question this information really prompts. And it's one for you, the listener, to think about. Can India actually play a constructive role here? Maybe even act as some kind of mediator?
Or are the dynamics just too complicated, meaning it has to stay on the sidelines?
And following on from that, if neutrality is the current play, is that sustainable in the long run? Or is this maybe a moment where India needs to consider taking a more definitive stance in this West Asian conflict?
Something to definitely mull over based on what we've unpacked here.